The next area to add bones in is the back leg. Let's go into Setup, middle mouse click on the hips, tap the A key to center our selection, tap the plus key to add a bone to the hips, go to the Bone tab, uncheck Align Z to Parent, and we'll just move this along Z, which happens to move along the hips rotation and not local. We'll pitch this one straight down and adjust the length. And we need to move this up, but if we left mouse click, it still moves along parent Z. That's default how Messiah works. If you right click, it will move it on local Z. Have to be careful if you use left mouse click or right mouse click. Suggest you use left mouse click all the time because right may mess up your controls. This is a special bone. We're going to call this bone leg. R for right. We're going to set the slip on this bone to 1. What slip does is it controls the amount of influence this bone has over the mesh. If we set it to a higher number, it controls less and less. 1 seems to be a nice number where it doesn't control anything. Use the plus key to add another bone to this. We're going to add double joint bones, that is, bones that are smaller that make up the length of a full-size bone, but they have less influence and smooth out the transitions between the other bones. I'm going to pitch this one forward. We're going to call this bone thigh 1R. The plus key again. We'll pitch this one down and adjust the length so it's about where the knee rotates. We'll call this bone thigh 2R. Plus key again. We'll pitch this one to the middle of the calf. We'll call this bone calf 1R. Add another bone to that. Pitch this one over and pivot it and center the tip over where the ankle rotates. We'll call this one calf 2R. Plus key again. Pitch this bone down. We're not going to double joint this end bone. We'll just run the length of this all the way down to where this knuckle rotates. We will call this bone ankle R. Plus key again. Adjust the length of this bone until it goes just down to the paw. Call this bone foot R. And plus key once more. Pitch this one up to level. Make it a bit larger. And we'll name this bone toe R. Now let's click on its parent, leg R, go to the top view. It's sitting right in the middle of the world because that's where the hips were when we added this bone. So we'll just grab X and move it with a left mouse click until it's sitting right on top. You notice that the foot is aiming off in a different direction, and this is made straight up and down on X and Z. Well, that's why we added this main bone called leg R that everything else is parented under. Just grab bank, and we'll rotate bank until the orientation of the skeleton match up with the legs. Just right mouse click on X to move it on local axis to tweak it a little bit. Switch to a perspective view. Just use the A key to target. You'll notice that this bone is sitting outside of the mesh. That's okay. As long as it deforms correctly, we can put the bones wherever we want. It doesn't have to be anatomically correct. Switch to a left view. The reason why we added double joints on the thigh and calf is because we're going to use a muscle bone in here to counter the pinching effect on this leg. Click into Animate, click on calf 1R, pitch it up. You'll see that it pinches inward. That's not how a dog leg looks, really. More like a dinosaur leg. So let's reset that keyframe to Setup. Click into Setup tab, middle mouse click on thigh 2R. We'll tap the plus key to add another bone. Uncheck Align Z to Parent. Go to Rest and zero out the Z translate. Pitch this one over and adjust its length so it aims right at the base of calf 2R. We'll call this bone knee muscle R because it'll be a muscle bone. Now, under the Bone tab there's an option for muscle bone. If you check that, this bone will stretch to reach its goal. Under the target, we'll select a goal. In this case it will be calf 2R. You see it pop ever so slightly and it turns blue. So now we click into animate and rotate the calf. All of that mesh pulls up the way a dog leg should. If it pulls out too much, you can adjust the slip on this bone to a small number like 0.01, and it will gradually give up control and influence and will pull back. 0.02 seems to work really well. You get a slight amount of pinching in and the other bones get to share the influence. Reset that frame to all, and that's a basic skeleton to put inside the leg. Go to File. I'm going to save this scene as DogSetupB.